Tech titan Bill Gates has claimed that AI is as big a revolutionary as the computer and the internet. One of the most significant advantages of AI in the industry is its capacity to automate repetitive procedures, freeing up time for workers to focus on more complex and creative work. AI may also provide valuable insights into how firms run, allowing them to streamline their operations and make data driven decisions. As per a report by IBM, 74% believe that AI is the long term approach for their business success. This leads to a bright future for enterprise artificial intelligence, as it is set to become a crucial component in the way businesses operate. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to one more podcast with Analytics Insight. This is your host, Rangoli, and today we are in conversation with Anand Mahurkar, founder of Findability Sciences. And today we will be discussing on 3Ds for successful AI adoption, domain, data, and decisions. Hi, Anand. It is a pleasure to be in this conversation with you today.
Good morning, Rangoli. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with telling our listeners a brief about the company.
Rangoli Findability Sciences is a global artificial enterprise AI company. We have tools and technologies around machine learning, natural language processing, and computer vision. We are a B2B solutions company, and we work with retail, financial services, manufacturing, higher education. It's a horizontal platform. It's a vertical agnostic, and we typically solve enterprise AI problems related to what will happen and what to do. In the new world of data and artificial intelligence, every business leader is looking for leading indicators for their business. Gone are the days of having the reports on profit and loss or how much revenue I did last quarter or last year, because that's obvious and that's known, and you cannot really do anything about it once it has happened. What the leadership is looking for is for the futuristic in terms of the forecasting, predictions, recommendation in terms of what will happen and what to do. So we solve wide range of problems for enterprises through our enterprise AI solutions globally.
Well, thank you for giving us this brief about the company. And now that we have some goals and visions and this brief about Findability Sciences, what is the problem statement that your company is solving?
So Rangoli, as you know, and in the introduction, you talked about how the big organizations like IBM and Microsoft are talking about data and AI. What we are trying to solve for organizations is that they are sitting on enormous data in their organization. And most of the organization, even they don't know that what data they have. The companies which are in business for 10, 20, 30 years, they have multiple data sources within their organization. But more importantly, as the world has exploded on the data externally, and the businesses really cannot just operate on the internal data, there's a lot of external data which is unexplored by these businesses. So what we solve for businesses is that how do we use this data for meaningful analytics for them, so that, as I mentioned earlier, they can solve what will happen to their business and what to do when they know that what will happen. So for example, somebody wants to know how much sales I will do next week, next quarter, next year, or 10 years from down the line, or which products I will sell, what should be pricing for my products, how many employees I may need, how many employees may leave me, which employees I can promote. So there are a wide range of problems which really is a shootout from this enormous data internally and externally. And we solve for enterprises how to use this data effectively and make some meaningful solutions for their businesses.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Anand, for this comprehensive answer. And I must say, people might relate to what the company is providing them. Now, on that note, could you please elaborate on the 3Ds of successful AI adoption?
So, Rangoli, as we talked about, data is one of the most important asset organizations have in today's world. So the 3D, which we talk about the successful implementation of AI, stands for data, domain, and decisions. So let's start with data. Organizations, one, needs to know their data, or they need to provide access to data for the people who are deploying AI solutions for them. Now, this may sound very trivial or very basic or given, but many organizations are not aware about their internal data assets, or they do not know what data they should use externally. So it is very important for organizations to know their data and collect the data for successful AI implementation. Now, even before data, the decision comes into the picture, and the decision as basic as whether they should use AI or not and for what business application is a very important decision to start with. And the AI journey, unlike the software implementations we have seen over last 3 decades in the market, is totally different. During the AI implementation or adoption, you need to keep changing the course of implementation or decisions we need to take around which use case is really useful, what return on investment you are getting, etc. So decisions, basically ability to take decisions, changing the track, modifying what you are doing, or even interrupting or abruptly changing the track is a very important facet of successful AI implementation. And the last but not the least, D, the third D stands for domain, because every single tool provider or technology provider or service provider may not have intricate knowledge of domain in your own business. So the businesses really, because two similar businesses on the outside or for the consumers, it may be same. And I was just giving an example of hotel industry. So two hotel chains may be offering the rooms for guests to come and stay. But internally, the way they store the guest data, how it is stored, how it is managed, how they manage customer service differs totally different. So even if I may have a hotel domain knowledge, in the software world, it was okay that the hotel industry workflow processes, etc., are same. But when it comes to AI implementation, there is a lot of intricacy around the data being used in an organization specific. So we call that as a domain knowledge for their business, not necessarily just the industry. So that stands for the third D. So therefore, data, decisions, and domain are the 3 Ds of most successful AI implementation we have seen in last 5 to 7 years.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for such a comprehensive answer, Anand, and which actually makes me think on the part of image recognition. So why do you feel like why is image recognition, natural language processing, and machine learning a key function in enterprise AI?
So let's talk about image, since you took that as the first thing. You
Yeah.
know that with phones or smartphones from 2009 onwards, the explosion of pictures being taken through the handphone is every day increasing in billions or trillions. But that's in the probably in the consumer world. But with the IoT or Internet of Thing devices like cameras, automatic cars, video cameras, surveillance cameras, the image and video capture in the world has gone up dramatically. Therefore, in addition to the data which organizations create through transactional systems, which typically sit in the databases, or unstructured data like emails and Word documents and PowerPoint, the third area of explosion of data is really images and videos because of smartphones, because of cameras, because of connected devices. So it is now very important and a very interesting aspect in the analytics that images can be processed and a lot of analytics can be taken out of it for effective business applications. Center and check about their products and see if they are compliant to the legal clauses, etc. Now, there are lots of cameras set up in that information briefing center. Those cameras capture the facial recognitions of each of these people, and we can understand from there their emotions. Are they engaging with any specific part of the product, or what is their reaction? So without really asking them questions or taking surveys, you can naturally capture the images and get the answers. So that's just example of images. So it's a very important for organizations to now analyze images and videos and take analytics out of that. The natural language, as I talked about, that in addition to the structured data, which is stored in the transaction systems, the emails, the Word documents, the PDFs, the calls which we make, the transcription of that, or the reviews and the feedbacks which we write on the websites. There is a lot of content in unstructured content which needs technology like natural language processing to process their data. For example, we are working with one customer in Japan. On their website, they get a lot of comments and remarks on their product from the consumer, and one cannot manually sit and read this for thousands of comments every day. So we process it through natural language, and they can understand the feedback on products and sentiments and etc. And the last but not the least is the machine learning. As you know that the structured data which is in the databases can be then processed through the statistical programming or machine learning, whereas I talked earlier about what will happen and what to do in the companies, you can find out from that structured data. So machine learning typically used in predictive and prescriptive analytics, where the structured data is being processed and then you can get the outcome about your future. So therefore, image, natural language processing, and machine learning are the three important elements of enterprise AI. And practically every traditional organization needs solution around these three technologies.
Well, thank you so much, Anand. And which makes me move on to the next question, and that is, how how is enterprise AI helping companies to boost the global economy?
So the enterprise AI, Rangoli, is finally on data. Now, data, and as you talked about the global economy and global, every business is now impacted about the global events. We all know the beaten up example of pandemic and what happened with coronavirus. But after that, the disruption into logistics or supply chain, something happens in China impacts in India, or something happens in India impacts in US. But how do you know all that is only through data? So if you now see that every businesses, while their internal data is important, they need external data and even global data, geopolitical data, economy data, stock market data, pricing data, competitors data, consumer data. There is no boundary to data, because as I mentioned that if something happens in China, we should know in a very small country that how that supply chain is going to get impacted. And that we know only through data. So for example, earthquake in Turkey, how that is going to impact to my logistics or my supply chain. If there are suppliers in Turkey who are supplying me components, my entire production line can break. So enterprise AI now helps to take this data and then understand its impact onto your outcomes and provide you that analytics or alerts or whatever you want to, in what fashion you want to use is really your choice. But enterprise AI helps making that information easily consumable and gives you a decision support system to take some critical decisions.
Okay, well, that was really comprehensive, Anand, and I think that people listening to podcasts could definitely find that insightful. And that brings me to the end of this podcast, and that actually brings me to the end of the last question, actually. So, this is the world of artificial intelligence. This is the world of Chat GPT that we are living in. So, we are all well versed with Chat GPT by this time. So, what do you think? What does the future of artificial intelligence look like?
So, Rangoli, and I'm sure every listener of this podcast has gone and explored Chat GPT, and I'm sure you also used it. This was in making for a number of years, and the AI is going to continue to get adopted much rapidly. The Chat GPT really now help to make AI a very known to common people. Like you can see doctors and lawyers and everybody's using Chat GPT, and they understand now the power of AI. So what's going to happen in the future is there are two levels of artificial intelligence. One is a very consumer centric world like Chat GPT, means anybody can come and access the information, get something done. The knowledge is going to become now very, very easily available. But the second impact of enterprise AI is for businesses. Now, Chat GPT type of solution for a business may not be affordable and may not be even useful because they have number of very serious applications on their own data. But enterprise AI has now come to a level where you can automate many business processes. You can get decision support system. You can automate customer support, or you can automate internal knowledge sharing or knowledge information. So it is going to impact on an enhancement on productivity, the productivity of workers within the enterprises. And I'm using workers as a very generic word. This can be knowledge workers or those can be physical workers. The productivity is going to now shoot out. Like you must have seen in Chat GPT, you can just write one question saying write an essay on ABC, and within 30 seconds it will give you an essay. So similarly, that the productivity is going to go up. The second is cost is going to go dramatically down because number of people required to do something would be less with enterprise AI. But does that really have a point of concern to the general humanity or employment, etc.? Potentially, yes, but also enterprise AI is creating now multiple or millions of jobs for people to get retrained and get involved into it. So, Rangoli, we are on a very exciting time. Enterprise AI, or in general, artificial intelligence, is now going to change dramatically the way we lived, the way we communicated, the way we worked, the way we interacted. Every facet of life is going to get impacted with artificial intelligence. And while impacted word may sound negative, it's actually quite exciting. It's going to actually enhance our lives. It's going to do many creative things. So it's really fun times in front of us.
Absolutely. And I believe enterprise AI is incredibly promising and will have a significant impact on how people live their lives, right? So
Yes.
I think as AI advances, it will become an essential tool for both the businesses and individuals, allowing them to accomplish more in less time and effort. Nonetheless, it is critical that corporations adopt AI responsibly, taking into account the moral implications and ensuring that technology helps society. So, honestly, that was a wonderful Anand, and I believe you've given our listeners um, a great deal of ideas about artificial intelligence and about what is it going to be like in future. And AI is set to open up newer opportunities by the day, and as like a digital first country, we are yet to see what's more is there to come. So thank you so much, Anand.
The most
Yes.
important aspect in terms of the business to business AI adoption is going to be around GRC, which stands for governance, risk, and compliance. Because
Okay.
ChatGPT has now spurred a very new discussion within enterprises, that is it really ethical? Is it really what we are doing is responsible? Is it really, if the governance is good for this? What type of data is going into this AI? What are the risks we have, and what are the compliances? People are really now worried that there may be thousands of lawsuits because of someone's data is gone somewhere else. So this GRC framework, since you use the responsible word, I think the listeners will really find it very interesting that in addition to the implementation of AI, the next big wave is going to come along with AI is how do people take care of governance, risk, and compliance while deploying AI solutions.
So thank you so much, Anand. I definitely agree, and I must say the interaction was absolutely insightful, and our listeners enjoyed it as much as I did. So thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this, and I will see you with another great interaction next time. Bye.
Thank you, Rangoli. It was great chatting with you.